Welcome to this deep dive into the remarkable life of Amy Johnson. Born in Hull in 1903, she etched her name in history as the first woman to fly solo from London to Australia. That was May 1930.
A huge achievement, but her story didn't stop there, did it? She kept breaking records, really pushing the boundaries of what people thought was possible in aviation back then.
Exactly. So today we're not just celebrating those incredible flights, but also, trying to navigate the enduring mystery around her death during World War II. It's still debated.
It really is. And for this exploration, you've pulled together some great material, old news articles, her Wikipedia page, stuff from historical societies, and even a YouTube video transcript. Gives us a few different angles.
Yeah, the idea is to really get a feel for what Amy Johnson achieved, the massive challenges she overcame, and look at the different theories about her final flight. Where do those questions still stand?
Sounds good. Let's start at the beginning then. Her early life in Hull. Father in fish exports, grandfather a Norwegian fisherman. Does that hint at anything, do you think? A sense of travel, maybe?
Could be. There's definitely that connection to the sea, to journeys. But the real spark, apparently, was seeing a newsreel of a plane as a kid.
Oh, yeah, I read that. She was totally captivated, wasn't she? Sat through it twice just to see the plane again.
But then her first actual flight, just a quick 5-minute joyride, was kind of underwhelming for her.
Yeah, a bit disappointing, apparently. Not the big thrill she'd imagined, but clearly it didn't put her off for long.
No, definitely not. Moving to London later put her near the London Airplane Club's airfield. And this was the late 1920s, remember?
Right, the golden age of aviation craze. You had Lindbergh, Hinkler, Lady Heath, Lady Bailey, all these big solo flights happening. Must have been electric.
Totally. An inspiring time to be around aviation. But her first lesson in 28, apparently a bit of a disaster.
Who'd the sources say?
Why?
But she stuck with it, saved her wages, paid for more lessons, and finally got her pilot's license in June 1929.
She was the 37th British woman to get one. But even then, she wasn't satisfied with just flying the plane.
No, she wanted to understand the nuts and bolts, didn't she? Started hanging out with mechanics at the aerodrome.
Which probably raised a few eyebrows back then.
I bet. But she pushed on and became the first British woman to qualify as a ground engineer. That's serious dedication.
It really is. Shows she wasn't just looking for glamour. She wanted total mastery. And her ambitions were growing, that Dundee Courier piece from early 1930.
Yeah, and mentioned her wanting to beat Bert Hinkler's England to Australia record. Apparently, the article got some facts wrong, but it definitely created a buzz.
Getting the money together for something like that must have been tough.
Hugely. Sir Sefton Branker, the director of civil aviation, was a key figure, apparently. He believed in her and helped connect her with potential backers.
But even then, she still needed the actual plane.
Right. And it was her parents who stepped up in the end. They funded the purchase of a second-hand de Havilland gypsy moth.
Which she painted green and named Jason, after her dad's business trademark. Nice touch.
Yeah. So, with Jason ready, she was finally set for that huge flight.
May 5th, 1930. Departure from London. It's hard to really picture the challenges, isn't it? Basic instruments.
Just an altimeter, airspeed indicator, a compass. That's pretty much it.
Navigation was all landmarks and paper maps.
Yeah.
And she had to pump fuel by hand in flight.
And no radio. Once she took off, she was completely isolated. On her own.
Unbelievable. And the journey itself was just relentless.
Okay.
Austria first, right? Mechanics wouldn't let her touch her own plane.
Yeah, and then she had to fix their shoddy work afterwards. Then that sandstorm over the desert, engine failure, forced landing. Terrifying stuff.
And the landings didn't get easier. Baghdad broke an undercarriage strut, not once but twice.
Then in Karachi, found an incorrectly set spark plug. Could have been disastrous, caused a fire.
It's amazing she kept going. But she did set a speed record to India, didn't she? Beat Hinkler's time for that leg.
She did. But then the monsoon hit heading towards Rangoon, Burma. Crash landing on a playing field, major damage to Jason.
Must have seemed like it was over then.
You'd think so. But she crashed near an engineering institute, incredibly. Students rallied around, helped repair the plane using old WWI fabric salvaged locally.
Wow. So even though the overall record was now impossible, she just carried on.
Pure determination. Then she got lost in mountains near Bangkok. A short flight turned into a 3-hour nightmare.
And that storm off Thailand. Flying super low in pouring rain, couldn't even use her goggles.
Yeah, and then ran low on fuel, had to put down in bamboo fields in Java, damaging the wings again.
Even reaching Timor wasn't the end of it. Encountered armed tribesmen. Sounds like fiction.
It really does. Finally rescued by a church mission. Just incredible.
So finally, May 24th, 1930, Darwin, Australia, 19 and a half days later.
She'd missed Hinkler's record by 4 days, but the reception, it was overwhelming.
Absolutely. Queen of the Air in the papers. Telegrams from King George V, Queen Mary, the Prime Minister.
Charles Lindbergh sent one too. Huge crowds everywhere. Awarded the CBE the Harmon Trophy.
And she got the first civil pilot's license in Australia. #1.
There was even that song, Amy, Wonderful Amy. Huge public adoration.
Yet, amazingly, she reportedly felt like a failure because she hadn't broken the actual record.
Tells you a lot about her standards, doesn't it? Always pushing herself. But she didn't stop there, obviously.
No way. July 1931, London to Moscow, then on to Tokyo with Jack Humphreys. Set record times for that trip.
Then came the marriage to Jim Mollison in 32, the Scottish pilot.
That was a quick one, wasn't it? Proposed just hours after meeting her on a flight.
Something like that. They became the big aviation power couple.
And she broke his record soon after, right?
Yep.
London to Cape Town, solo, July 32.
Yep, in her Puss Moth, Desert Cloud. Big deal at the time. Even used in adverts by de Havilland and Castrol Oil.
Their adventures together continued. That attempt to fly nonstop from Wales to New York in 33.
In the Seafair. Didn't quite make it nonstop. Ran low on fuel. Crash landed in Connecticut.
Minor injuries, thankfully. But they still got a ticker tape parade in New York.
Met Amelia Earhart, President Roosevelt.
They were global celebrities. Then the McRobertson Air Race in 34, England to Australia.
In Black Magic, they set a record time to Karachi but had engine trouble and had to pull out of the full race.
But Amy kept going individually. Regained the England to South Africa record in 36.
In GADZO. And she wasn't just flying. Youngest president of the Women's Engineering Society from 34 to 37, still involved on the ground.
She even took up gliding.
Yeah.
And survived overturning a glider in 38.
Yeah, famously joked it was still the safest way to fly. Just unstoppable spirit.
Then came the Second World War. A huge shift.
A tragic one, ultimately. In 1940, she joined the Air Transport Auxiliary, the ATA.
Ferrying RAF aircraft around the country. Vital work. She rose to first officer.
Worked under Pauline Gower, another pioneering pilot and friend. Jim Mollison flew for the ATA too, actually.
Shows her skill, being trusted with that. But then came January 5th, 1941, her last flight.
Flying in airspeed Oxford, Prestwick towards RAF Kidlington via Squires Gate.
But something went wrong. She went way off course over the Thames estuary. Bad weather.
Yeah, the conditions were poor. Theories suggest maybe a faulty compass running out of fuel. It's all a bit unclear.
And there were eyewitnesses on ships. Saw a parachute, someone in the water calling for help, described as a woman's voice.
That's the harrowing part. And the rescue attempt itself ended in tragedy.
Lieutenant Commander Walter Fletcher from HMS Hazelmere dived into the freezing water to try and save her.
He died of hypothermia later, such a tragic element to the story, and Amy's body never found.
Which just adds to the mystery. So many theories have sprung up since then.
Some straightforward, like simply running out of fuel or hitting a barrage balloon. There were loads of those around.
But then there's that really controversial claim. Friendly fire.
Yeah, the account from Tom Mitchell, a former anti-aircraft gunner. He claimed they shot her down after she gave the wrong color of the day signal. Mistaken identity.
He said they were ordered to open fire and then told to keep quiet about it afterwards.
Chilling.
David Luff, an aviation historian, supports that idea too. Suggests a possible cover-up to protect wartime morale. Another grim theory, from historian Alec Gill, based on a crewman's son's account.
Suggests she might have been pulled into the propellers of the Hazelmere during the rescue attempt itself. Awful thought.
But the official explanation's always been simpler, hasn't it?
Basically, yeah. Lost above clouds, ran out of fuel, bailed out thinking she was over land, but came down in the estuary.
They did find her flying bag, logbook, and checkbook washed ashore later. Tangible items, but no real answers.
A memorial service was held quickly, January 41. LTCMDR Fletcher got the Albert Medal posthumously for his bravery. Amy was officially presumed dead in December 43.
And she's commemorated at the Runnymede Memorial for Air Force personnel with no known grave.
The fascination hasn't faded, though. Look at all the memorials. Statues in Hull and Herne Bay, plaques everywhere.
Buildings named after her university, schools, airlines naming planes after her KLM, Norwegian Air UK.
Roads in the UK, even in Australia. The Royal Aeronautical Society has an annual lecture in her name.
That model of the Gypsy Moth built by prisoners in Hull, quite a tribute. And the Google Doodle in 2017.
Her story keeps being told. Films, plays, radio, books, music, and just recently, 2024, that piece of fabric, possibly from her plane's parachute door.
Right. Auctioned off, bought by the Kent Battle of Britain Museum.
Yeah.
Shows the interest is still there, absolutely.
Definitely. This deep dive really highlights her impact. Not just a pilot, a genuine trailblazer. Shattered barriers, inspired so many people.
Yeah, an incredible legacy in aviation history.
Yeah.
And while that mystery around her death lingers, her achievements are what really stand out.
They really do. Thinking about her spirit, her sheer determination against the odds, it makes you wonder, doesn't it?
How so?
Well, considering what she pushed through, what other things that seem impossible today might actually be achievable if you have that same kind of courage and perseverance?
That's a really powerful thought to end on. Her story definitely makes you think about limits and maybe pushing past them. Well, if you've enjoyed exploring Amy Johnson's life with us today, please do think about subscribing, maybe liking the show. It genuinely helps us keep digging into fascinating stories like this one. Your support really would mean a lot.